Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. This is everything in bud, spike or bloom on the 8th. It's a regular monthly feature that always takes place on the 8th where possible. There are times when it conflicts with me being out all day, or if it happens on a Sunday I always move it because the Sunday chat is on Sunday if at all possible. So yeah, regular monthly feature. This is the first time I've had to film the phalaenopsis since the new shelf went in. It suddenly dawned on me I can't reach the bloom, so I've had to get a chair to stand on. So I'll be balancing on a chair to do the top shelf. But we usually start in the kitchen, which is where the phalaenopsis live. They need to be in the house for the winter, basically far too cold in the grow room at night and sometimes during the day as well. And the temperatures remain better in the house. We will get down to, sort of, it can go as low as 15, 16 in the house when it's well below zero outside for more than 24 hours, in other words day and night. It can chill the house down overnight. But under normal circumstances we get at least 18, 19 degrees in the kitchen. This is where I also do my cooking, obviously. Oh, you've noticed. And my constant flow of coffees, so the kettle's boiling frequently. That adds humidity into the room and the cooking adds some heat in. So yeah, this is the best place for them as the house goes. It's also a north facing window, so it never gets any sunshine. And next year they may stay here rather than going out into the grow room. That remains to be seen. That's a April, May next year decision, not now. Anyway, this takes place in parts. I filmed this bit in the kitchen first. I've got a couple of other orchids that are in the house but not in the kitchen. We'll then do those. Then we'll go out into the grow room and have a look at the rest of the stuff. So let's get started. Right, the usual problem is that obviously the bright light behind, even though it's a dull day, it's a north facing window, the light coming in is far brighter than the light this side of the plants. So I do electronically enhance the light so that hopefully you can see what's going on. Now the first one we're starting off with is one of Hannah's, and this is U-Pin Easter Island, and it's just come back into bloom now. Almost pure white, and a very unusual shaped lip for a phalaenopsis. Instead of having the little curly bits on the lip to the sides, it's actually got wings. So yes, that's quite a nice spike. It's very sturdy and very strong, but there again it's a large plant. So good spike. Good number of blooms, plenty more to come. Right, coming along here is this one, and this is the one that I got at the NEC in Birmingham. This came from Spicesotics, and the reason I bought this one is down here. It's actually got a side growth, so it's got a second plant growing out from the base, and I thought it would be interesting to follow the progress of that one. In addition, I really like the blooms on this. I think I've got a second one of this somewhere. So that's that. My son's absolutely giant phalaenopsis. This is a big plant. It's just growing a new leaf at the moment. That's now got a spike pushing on. I've had to stake that. Because if it hangs over sideways there's nowhere for it to go because the leaves hang lower than the shelf, so this can't go that way round to let the spike come this way because the leaves would be touching the glass. So that's that. Now this is one of the 8 that came from the original 2 purchases from Double H, and although this looks like a new spike and it looks very nice, it's actually a chopped spike. Yeah, so this is a branch, and it's probably one of the best branches on a phalaenopsis I've ever seen because it looks like a branch in its entirety. It's One of the buds has blasted there. Take that one off. We don't want it to encourage the others, do we? But this is a gorgeous colour, this one. Stunning colour. And quite honestly, that is quite an unusual colour in the phalaenopsis world. Lovely delicate veining. And now you can see the first one that we looked at, I said about the lip not having the curly bits. Yeah, these are the curly bits I was going on about. So that's that one. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. And if you see what I've just said about a branched spike, how that looks like a normal spike, that one doesn't. So that's also a chopped off branch. That's virtually finished, that branch. So if that one hasn't been repotted, that will be the next thing to get repotted, and the spike will come off at that point. Now the last one up here, unfortunately, it's dropped the other blooms over the last couple of days and it's gone. So that's one of mine, so no ID. Right, we will clamber down onto the ground floor. That was the upper story, first floor. Right, and then we come along. This is mainly the mini phals, but not all. This is one of the mini phals that's had its blooms. It's coming back into growth. Same again with that one, but this one looks like it's could be a spike and a root. Could be both there in that little corner. This is the one that many said I should have sent back because it has a terminal spike, which under normal circumstances means it's incapable of growing another leaf. But it is capable of growing another spike. Now that I didn't expect. And it's the spike, other spikes have been cut. This one has been left to branch to see what it'll do. It's a nice white when it opens up. So that's that one. This is Hannah's little Pyloric equestris, which is putting up a rather weak spike. It's also grown a new leaf, so that's good. This is one of mine. So no name, no ID or anything. That has a spike, not long started. This is another one of mine over here. That's just started a spike. This one over here is one of the double H ones. The spike's removed. That one's been repotted. And then over here, this is one of Hannah's. What was this one called? Happy Hour. That's finished blooming. It's growing a new leaf. No sign of any more spikes at the moment. And then tucked up the end here is another one of the double H mini phals. And on the far side, be tucked up behind it, is one of Hannah's original mini phals. So that's one of the few that Hannah said ought to stay down here. Yeah, so that's the kitchen done. And as I said, the light is just wrong in here for filming. I mean, I don't spend huge amounts of time in the kitchen until I get my evening meal. And for quite a lot of the year, when I get my evening meal, it's dark and I turn the light on. And I can then see all the nice colours on my phalaenopsis. But during the day, they don't show up very well. Right, on to the next bit. Right, before we go out in the grow room, this is the last of the phalaenopsis. And these two, because of the height of their spikes and the fact that I like these two an awful lot, they actually live here next to my laptop. Until they finish blooming, then we'll have to find room for them out on that shelf in the kitchen somewhere. It's going to get a bit squashed. Anyway, this is the one I got when we visited Double H, and I'm well pleased with this because I wanted a large white. But to get the large white blooms, I was expecting to have to get a large phalaenopsis. I got the large blooms on a mini phal, so well pleased with that. And then this is actually named, this is Phalaenopsis Split. This came from Burnham's at the Devon Orchid Society show, so the last visit to Burnham's this year, until well into next year too. So, and I just like this. This is just a really, really attractive Phalaenopsis. Both the patterning, the colour scheme, the veining, the way the colours fade into each other, the nice traditional lip with the frilly bits and a little yellow splash in the middle. So that to me is an incredibly attractive phalaenopsis. And these two live in here, so they're sat next to me when I'm working on the laptop and doing my stuff out here. So right, on into the grow room. Right, as usual, we'll start over to one side. Now, I will say now that I'm not going to be able to do the cymbidiums very well. I might be able to show some of the spikes, but I won't be able to have a good look at all of the spikes because the plants are too crowded and I'm not getting them all down for this video. We can look at them as a separate thing. So starting over here then, we have, I'll do pop-ups from now on with the names. Out in the kitchen it wasn't really worth it because most of those are just hybrids. So over here we have a nice bud on this phalaenopsis here, and I'm reasonably certain somewhere on that plant there's another bud, but it's hiding, it's tucked away. I forget where. But we've got a bud coming here, so we'll have a new, I said phalaenopsis, didn't I? Paphiopedilum. Well, it begins with a P. And Paph Blackjack is still in bloom. Perhaps the extra bud was on this plant. Well, if it is, I can't see it at the moment. But those are the only buds on the Paphiopedilums at the moment. Unfortunately, a couple of days ago, these few Hercoglossum blooms went over, so they're no longer with us. The Victoria Regina up here is starting to fade, but it still has some blooms. So we've still got some, and there's one still left to open here. So you can still see the splash of colour. It's still one of my favourite dendrobiums. And then there's nothing much else going on here. This is obviously gone now. And there is one bloom left. But unfortunately it's facing the wrong way. I'll see if I can turn it. This is radiata. I'm just trying to see if I can turn it so that I can get the camera on that last bloom before it drops. There we go. I think it's worth it. They're delicate, these blooms, a creamy greeny colour, upside down, lip at the top, delicate veining, but the spikes go in now, so as far as the plant's concerned, the next two new growths are already well in progress. This one's got its full set of leaves, and this one's not far off, so that's good. And now I'm not getting in there just for one plant, but my the plant is the last one. It's right up in the farthest corner, but I turned it last time I watered it so that the spike points inwards, and that's my Laelia anceps, and it's one of my favourite all-time Cattleya types. The spike's pushing on now. Buds will be showing soon. They'll be separating out from the sheaths. I don't know how many I'm going to get. 2 would be good, 3 would be even better, but it's a very weak plant at the moment. I'm pushing my luck letting that bloom really. So, oh, now I've got to back out. So this large staging down here does cause some problems, it really does. Right, let's back out. Once I'm out of here and we've done that bit, we're sort of over and done now. Right, we'll have a look and see if we can see some of the spikes. This is my, I would call this my largest cymbidium. It's in the biggest pot and it's almost filled the pot. The size of the bulbs are huge. This is going to have a good blooming, but it's only just started and the first spike is showing here. There will be others. It's not going to be the only spike, that's for sure. But at least it's made a start. Down here, the one that may have a virus, so it stays separate from the others, that's got a spike coming. We won't touch the plant. You have to bear in mind, a lot of people have said, why do you keep a possible virus plant? Well, if it can be kept separate, not touch any other plants, watered separately, and if there's any trimming to do, make sure any cutting tools are sterilised. It can be self-contained, so it's staying for now, but it's got a nice spike anyway. Coming round here, this one's got a spike starting there. Where are we now? This one behind here has got the most advanced spikes. So we've got one here that's actually showing the buds. Let's see where the camera's pointing. So I've got to get some stakes out on this plant next time I water it, because that's going to arch over otherwise. There's several other spikes on that plant as well. This one here, I'm not sure we've got any spikes on this one yet. No, I don't think so. That one over there, that's tiger tail. That's quite a late bloom and well into next year, so that won't be spiking yet. So that's the Cymbidiums. Quick look. There obviously won't be anything up there. Those are resting dendrobiums now, all of them. They're all resting. Unfortunately, this one's still growing. So this one does get a bit of water a bit more frequently than the others. But otherwise they've finished growing. They've all their canes have stopped growing now. So that's that lot. Then over here we've got the Spidery nonsense. This is what is it? Shelob Marie, I think it is. It's not Shelob Tolkien. I was given it, and the guy said it was Shelob Tolkien, but it's not. So that's that one. Spidery nonsense. Lovely colours though. I mean, the colouring on that lip is absolutely stunning. So that's that one. And then there isn't much over here. We've got this is Oncidium, which, given that most of the odonts were reclassified as Oncidiums, it should be Oncidium. It's an Oncidium hybrid and it's tiger tail. That's all we need to know. It's a bit of a colour changer. The lip changes colour as it ages. And then next to it, this is still one of my favourite types of orchids. These odonts with this type of pattern really appeal to me a lot. This is a no ID, just a hybrid that I took a fancy to. Where did I take a fancy to this? Burnham's again, I think. But lovely blooms, lovely blooms. And then tucked away down here, that's been hiding and only recently discovered that it's got spikes, is probably my only twinkle now. And this is Twinkle Pink Profusion, so Oncidium variety, and it should be very fragrant and it should have a lot of blooms. It's currently got 6 spikes there, pushing on slowly but surely. Probably going to be 5 or 6 weeks before we get blooms on that. They are incredibly slow to progress. And then down in the understory, down here, we've got the 2 Miltoniopsis that are in bloom. Both of these came from Burnham's. This one, although unnamed when I got it, is highly likely to be her Alexander. That's H-E-R-R. Probably, I think, German. And then the other one hasn't got a name, although it probably... The trouble is with the Miltoniopsis hybrids, there are an awful lot that look the same or are incredibly similar, and it would be difficult to try and identify this with 100% certainty. So I'd rather just say it's a hybrid. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So there's nothing else down here. Right, down on the ground floor here is this thing, and this is it's a Prosthetia, forgotten now, Pachycephalum or something like that, but you'll get your pop-ups. It's got a nice big spike coming. The problem with this one is the blooms are not very big, and see what I've just knocked off there, massive mealybug. They've come off that flipping dendrobium that I was given. I'm still fighting them, they still keep appearing, but I'm winning. There's hardly any to see now, but as you can see, they've managed to migrate to the plant next door. But they have nice flowers, a bit like the radiata that we looked at, only a bit bit smaller and very spaced out on the spike. Hello, I've gone deaf. So that's the, what do you call it, the dehumidifier's just finished. And then up here we've got a couple of Restrepias, which I will try and get this thing to focus on, but it is difficult handheld. I have to patiently wait till it makes its mind up. There we go. Now, talking of unusual shapes, what about that for a shape then? Do you want to identify the parts? What we always said, 3 sepals, 3 petals, one of which is a lip. Yeah, well, not here, not on these. The brightly coloured section is actually 2 sepals fused together. The third sepal is this bit sticking up in the air. The petals are these tiny antennae, and the lip is that tiny little bit in the centre. So, that is unusual. But when somebody first saw these, they thought, is that really an orchid? And then there's another one round here with similar colours, whereas this one here is very subtly spotted. This one is really spotted. Pattern on this one is gorgeous. Now, come on, focus. Let these people see what you're up to. There we go. Gorgeous colours, lovely spotty pattern, but very similar to the previous one. So that's that. There's no Masdevallias with buds on. Leaves dropping down from above. Nothing here. So we finish on the 2. Well, actually, it's more than that. There is more going on than that, I believe, but I can't think where. Oh, I can't get at it. It's the very back plant, but my Coelogyne cristata does have a spike forming. Unfortunately, it's pointing towards the window to get the light and draw it in that direction. So we can't see it from here, but it is basically. We've got some spikes on the one behind this one. There's some spikes coming on there, along with some. They come with the new growths. And then we've got the 2 that are actually in flower. Let's have a look at those. We've got this one here. We've looked at this very frequently, and this is probably, or possibly, the best blooming I'll ever get on it. This is the 3rd bloom on this spike, and it's got another one coming. Now this bloom's just about to fall off, so it's finished, and this one hasn't long opened. But this spike also has another bud coming. So this will have been in flower an awful long time, which is good, because it certainly is a very attractive bloom. Colour-wise, structure-wise, frilly bits, it's got everything going for it really. And then up here we've got the other Coelogyne that's out in bloom, and this is one of the large whites. So these look very similar. The plants vary in sizes, but there's a set of these. The set is just known as the large whites, and they all have a standard flower shape, so they don't start venturing off into odd shapes or anything. They've got the typical 3 sepals, 2 petals and a lip. They're all almost pristine white, if not pristine white, and they all have some form of yellow towards goldy orange in the lip. To me, almost orchid perfection. Just simplistic beauty as far as I'm concerned. Oh, and my arm's getting incredibly tired holding the camera up high like that. Oh. It still hasn't recovered from having a hole made in it. I had my COVID booster jab a short while ago. Oh, look, we went right past the spike. I missed it. What about this then? Now this is called Cambria, it actually had a label on it when I got it with Cambria written on it, which, given where this came from, you know, the mass producers on the continent, that's their generic word for orchid. But it's got a good spike, and you'll be impressed when these open with the colour. Hasn't bloomed for a long time, and it does have a second spike coming. So we look forward to those opening up. And that's it. That's all we've got this time round. I don't know how long it's going to be before I've actually got a Cymbidium with blooms on, but as you saw, the spike that I sort of homed in on has got the buds showing. So that spike's going to push on quite quickly now. And from now on, that will get the bloom version of my feed. So low nitrogen. And we get the correct nutrients in to progress that spike, hopefully enhance the colours and the bloom sizes. So we'll see how we'll see if it works. Might make no difference at all. But most of the time when something blooms, I've got it as a picture, as a still, so that I can use it in pop-ups and things like that. And I'm sure I've got a picture of what that looked like last time round. So we'll see what it looks like this time round. And yeah, I've Orchid Society meeting tomorrow, so it's highly unlikely there will be a video tomorrow, and I'll be back for our Sunday chat. Guess when? Yeah, it'll be on Sunday. That's why it's called the Sunday chat. But sometimes it can't happen on the Sunday because I'm away doing something else. But yeah, normal Sunday this week. As always, at this point, some point leading up to the Sunday chat, I always say, if you've got any suggestions or requests for spotlights or anything like that, then leave them in the comments with this video and I'll see what I can do. As I said, somebody specifically asked for a spotlight on Hibiki for last Sunday, and they got their wish. Well, if you don't ask, you're definitely not going to get it. So have a think, see what you might want to have a look at, have a chat about. And I'll see you on Sunday. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget the old thumbs up just before you exit. See you then.